Gang shit, you already know what it is.
Alright, check this out. You guys are back on the episode of Blue Devil Reactions, and what we have going on today is a video titled The Story of Diablo, Eastside Banning Sapo Goblin. Those that don't know what Sapo means, it means toad, frog. Goblin, we all know, is that green guy in the movie The Spider-Man. I don't know how you can be both, but we're going to find out today. Diablo is the rapper that is signed to Mr. Criminal's label, the Crime Family ENT. So you know, we got a devil, a toad, and a goblin all in one. But this is the story of him. This is coming from like a Swamp Stories. It is called Hood War Stories. So it's something similar, right? But before we get into this video, those that are new to Blue Devil Reactions, make sure you go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, like the video, you know, and run up the comments. That really helps the algorithm, so I appreciate it, and I salute everybody that does leave a comment. And those that don't know, we got another page, The Hater World, and we also got Hater World Uncensored. Recently, we've been having trouble going live. I don't know why, you know, but we're going to try to go live today. Hopefully, it goes through 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We also launched a Instagram page for news and community. That one is called Hater World Media, but that's only on Instagram. So go to Instagram and support Hater World Media. Look, I don't want to hold you guys too long on this intro. With all that being said, let's watch this video, the story of Diablo, Eastside Banning Sapo Goblin. Let's get you guys a Blue Devil reaction. Let's go.
Welcome to Hood War Stories. In this episode, I'll be discussing the life of Diablo. Jason Anthony Ryan was born in 1978 in the city of Banning, California. The city of Banning is located in Riverside County, California, situated in the San Gorgonio Pass. Historically, the city of Banning was composed of 3 barrios.
Wait, hold on. Is that San Manuel right there? Not San Manuel. Is that San Manuel? I think that is. Yeah, it is. The casino on the 10 freeway. These are the big ass mountains that are right on the side of it. I'm just trying to look for the freeway. Oh, it's right here.
Historically, the city of Banning was composed of 3 barrios. El Sapo, which means the frog, El Chancla, which means houseshoe, and El Lagartillo, which means lizard, were all historic barrios in Banning, with roots established as early as the 1880s. The Southern Pacific Railroad was constructed.
1880s? Bro, 1880s. Gangs since the 1880s. Wow, that shit is old. What is that? 140 years? Or am I wrong? Yeah, 140 what? 43?
Constructed through Banning in 1875 and 1876. And much of the workforce on the railroad were men of Mexican descent. Some of the areas that later became Chancla and Sapo were used for housing for the railroad workers and their families, and commercial ventures developed along Livingston Street in response to the new communities. Currently, the Sapos are the most active gang in Banning, with approximately 50 active members. Their stronghold is on the east side.
50 active members. 50 doesn't sound like a lot, right? Because I know there's gangs with thousands. My hood is a small hood too, right? Everybody knows everybody. It's like a family, right? So 50 is not a lot, but I guarantee you that they have more members. A lot of them are probably dead. A lot of them have probably went to or in prison. A lot of them probably moved away. So there's probably been hundreds throughout the, you know, entirety of its gang life. But active means that there's 50 members out there right now running around, ready for whatever, on call. That's a lot.
And they work with several gangs in the area. Diablo was born into the Sapo gang. Growing up, his home was a party and kickback spot.
90s.
And his mother would sell dope, which led to heavy traffic flow of fiends coming in and out the house. When Diablo was 6, his father was murdered. His father was in a physical altercation with the Crip at a liquor store, which led him to be stabbed 3 times in the heart and 8 times in the back. The year was 1984. In his early teen years, Diablo got his official put on and was a member of the Sapos gang.
Is he there in this photo? Could he possibly be this one? He don't look like that one. And he sure don't look like the big guy. Maybe it is that one.
During this time, his life was very turbulent. He had no father, and his mother was on drugs, and had an alcohol addiction as well. Diablo would run the streets with his homies and rob houses to try and come up on some quick cash. When he was 16, Diablo and a few gang members jumped 2 smokers, ultimately stabbing one of them. Diablo got hit with assault with a deadly weapon and did 4.5 years in youth authority. He got out when he was 21 years old. Shortly after that, he picked up a violation for guns. He did another 11 months. He was released after 8. In 2000, he and another Sapo member got into a physical altercation with another man, which led to Diablo stabbing someone again. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison, but got out in 5 years. After 2 days,
Damn, that fool like stabbing people. Was that his 3rd stabbing already? By 2000? Damn. Let's go.
of being released, he got hit with another gun charge and went back to serve another 32 months. At this point, his gang felt Diablo had earned his stripes, and Diablo was made leader of the Sapos gang. In 2016, Diablo's name was brought up to an incident that resulted in a murder.
Hold on.
In May of 20, he felt Diablo had earned his stripes, and Diablo was made leader of the Sapos gang.
So he's a shot caller for banning. Damn. Listen, allegedly. Everything right now is allegedly, right? Damn, that look like an old ass photo of him.
In 2016, Diablo's name was brought up to an incident that resulted in a murder. In May of 2016, Jeremy and his wife Norma moved into a housing complex in Banning, along with their newborn daughter and Norma's son Edgar. The complex was in an area claimed by the Sapos gang. 2 Sapos members, Arturo and his other cousin Frankie, lived in this complex. Shortly after Jeremy and Norma moved in, they had their first encounter with James, who was a Sapo gang member. James was walking down the street as Jeremy and Norma were getting out of their car. James stared at them really hard and said, "Where you guys from?"
What?
When Jeremy and Norma did not respond, James said, "Eastside Bandit Sapos." Norma and Jeremy went inside their home.
What a lame, bro. Listen. That's lame. You see a lady, a hyena with her vato, grabbing the baby out of the whip, right? Yeah, they in your hood. And the first thing you say, where you from? My boy, they carrying a baby. How's your day going? Be respectful. Yeah, they in your hood, but you don't act like a fucking barbarian animal hitting them up when they got a baby. What kind of bullshit is that? Like, listen. Even if they are in your hood, you make them feel welcome. They're your fucking neighbors. They're people that you gotta see on a daily. They're not a threat, right? Now, if the vato starts bringing over a bunch of homies from a different set, then it's a problem. Then you can take care of it. But until then, there's just a couple that live next door to you that live in your hood. Show them some respect. Man, that's lame, bro. I never liked people like that, homie.
Later, Norma went outside and saw James standing on the corner in the dark. She asked James, "What the fuck is your problem?" and told him they were a family that just moved in and did not want any trouble. She told James, "Don't be disrespecting us like that." James asked, "Well, what's your husband's problem?" Just then, Jeremy stepped outside, but Norma told him everything was fine, and that was it.
Now, I don't think the woman should have came outside and said anything. I think the woman should have minded her business as a female and not said nothing. Let her husband come out and have a conversation with the Sapo gang member, right? But he didn't. So, to me, he a beta male. You know, you tell wifey stay inside, you ain't gonna go out there and talk to that dude. Let me go out there and have a civil conversation. Hey, my boy, check this out. I live in your hood. I come in peace, no disrespect. I'm not here to bang or do any of that. I'm just here with my family. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And I know a lot of people will be like, "Bro, you don't know nobody. You don't know nobody in explanation," and you don't. All right, and you don't. But still, you in somebody's hood, you can speak to a man respectfully. You know, Hopefully none happens to this family. Let's find out.
The family encountered James again on June 5th, 2016. That day, a family reunion was being held at a park near the complex. Some of those in attendance were associated with the Sapos. When the reunion ended, a small number of the attendees gathered outside the complex, drinking alcohol and listening to music. At some point after the gathering started, Diablo showed up to the complex with James and a group of young gangsters. Diablo then started a confrontation with Richard, who was another Sapo gang member in attendance, about something that had happened between them in the past. Richard told Diablo it was a family gathering and not a place to be arguing. Diablo then pointed a gun at Richard's head and threatened to shoot him. He said, "I don't give a fuck about no family gathering." Meanwhile,
well, the reason he said that was because that's his hood, right? It's like, I'm in my hood. I don't give a fuck what's going on. This is my hood. I can do and say as I like. Even though they don't own no property, they don't own the streets, the houses, they don't own goddamn shit. But they still feel like, this is my hood, so I'm gonna do what I like.
gathering. Meanwhile, Norma was inside the house checking on the children. While inside, she heard Jeremy talking outside in what she initially thought was a conversation, but then realized it was a confrontation. After Jeremy asked the men to keep the noise down, she heard someone asking Jeremy where he was from, if he had a problem, and if he wanted to catch a fade. Norma opened the door and saw Jeremy standing in the driveway. James and another Sapo member named Jerry were standing in front of him. James and Jerry are both saying things that were designed to provoke a fight. Norma tried to defend Jeremy by telling the man, "We have a right to be here. We pay rent."
Facts.
Both James and Jerry responded, "Nah, this Eastside band is Sapos." Norma.
So check it out. This teaches you two rules right now, all right? Rule number one, not rule number one, lessons. Two lessons. Lesson number one, homies argue with each other, right? You had Diablo arguing with Jerry. He put his gun to his head and told him, "I don't give a fuck about this family gathering. It's the hood," right? They're homies from the same set. Then the family man steps outside and says, "Hey, keep that shit on the low. My family in here," right? So the dudes that were beefing, Diablo and his homie, they turn around and they go against the random guy. That goes to show you that we can argue within each other. Homies can argue. We can have beefs with each other. But when somebody else steps into the picture, that's the target. Now, I don't know why they would consider that guy a target or ask him where he's from or any of that, unless he looked like a game banger, right? But let's see.
But then heard Edgar open the door. She turned around and told him to go back inside. When she turned back to face the man, James and Jerry had begun attacking Jeremy and were beating him up. Norma tried to separate Jerry from Jeremy.
Damn, I have these names fucked up. Jerry.
Ended up on the ground tussling with James. She heard Jeremy tell James, "Get off my wife," before Norma could get up.
James, Jeremy, Jerry. God damn. Bro, that's a gang of J's.
A woman started pulling her by her hair, and Norma and another woman began fighting. As she fought with the woman, Norma saw Jerry attacking her son Edgar. James continued to fight Jeremy, and Norma saw their fight move towards the street. Norma then saw a third heavyset guy approach the scene, carrying what looked like a knife. She saw him making a passing motion to James at some point. She then saw James chasing Jeremy down the street making slashing motions. At some point, Norma realized Jeremy was hurt. She saw him making his way towards the driveway of their house. Everybody, including James and Jerry, had scattered. As they fled, Norma heard Jerry tell someone, "I stabbed that fool 10 times.
Damn.
Despite medical attempts to save him, Jeremy died from his injuries. He suffered a total of 20 stab wounds. Edgar also sustained multiple lacerations to his shoulders and chest. The DNA profiles of James and Jerry matched DNA found on beer cans collected from the complex. A fingerprint on one of the beer cans matched that of Diablo, although multiple witnesses claimed they saw him in the mix. Diablo was not charged for this murder.
So these two goofies right here, right, killed a innocent man because he came outside and told them to stop making noise. Bro, that's embarrassing for everyone. The guy that came outside and told him to stop making noise, I understand. He had his home. He with his wife. He pays rent. He got a job, right? Then you got these two bums just sitting there doing nothing with their life, you know, banging on civilians. Right? Now, I don't feel that the civilian should have came outside and said anything. He should have stayed inside, just, you know, not said nothing. Deal with it. Move, homie. Like, this is not a place where you want to be, right? But no, he came outside. Fuck it. He had the balls to do it. But you got these two dudes that ain't got nothing going for them that think it's a trophy to stab a civilian 10 times.
James and Jerry were convicted of first-degree murder and 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. Diablo first began rapping in 2008 after he was released from prison. His music started picking up momentum in the late 2010s, with music videos pulling in millions of views. He linked up with Mr. Criminal and his career was starting to take off. His future was looking bright, but in 2021, a murder took place. Diablo is the brother of Sonya. Sonya began dating Daniel.
That's Diablo's sister.
Sonya began dating Daniel in 2013 when they lived in Banning. It continued to do so until September of 2020, when he moved out of California to try and better himself. In November of 2020, Daniel called Sonya and told her he was going to take the bus back to California. Sonya picked up Daniel in West Covina and drove him back to Banning, where he stayed with Sonya and other members of her family for about 10 days. And then, over Sonya's objection, moved to his sister's house. Sonya then stopped all contact with Daniel on the night of January 11th, 2021. Daniel showed up to Sonya's home unannounced. He had paid her a visit in the hope of convincing her not to break off the relationship.
Alright, so that fool was dating Diablo's sister. He had moved out of state to try to, you know, do something with his life. Came back on the Greyhound. Was staying with Diablo's sister. And then she kicked him out and blocked him. Alright? So far, that's what we got. He pulled up to the pad and said, "Hey, why you blocked me?" Try to spit game.
An argument ensued, and Daniel became physical, grabbing Sonya at one point before snatching her mobile phone and purse, which contained $450 in cash, then running away. Sonya then went inside the house, woke Diablo up, and told him that Daniel had taken her handbag.
What a weenie, though. What is it with all these fucking weenies, bro? You snatch the highness phone, you break it, and then you run off with a purse. What the fuck, bro?
Diablo then drove to Daniel's sister's home. When Diablo knocked on the door and asked for Daniel, Selena, who also lived at Daniel's sister's house, answered and said he was not there. Diablo instructed Selena to tell Daniel that if he did not return with Sonya's handbag, that he was going to put a hole in him.
Ooh.
Sonya and Jonathan drove around looking for Daniel. During the drive, she called her own cell phone. Daniel answered and told Sonya to go to a certain location by herself if she wanted the handbag. When Sonya arrived at the location with Jonathan, Daniel saw Jonathan in the vehicle, smashed Sonya's phone, and ran off with her handbag. Daniel later sent Sonya a message on Facebook saying that he would leave the handbag in her father's truck. When Sonya retrieved the handbag the next morning, all the money and a vape pen were missing. Between 8:01 and 8:04 a.m.
What the fuck does the vape pen matter? Fuck the vape pen. Who cares? And the money is $450. I get it. It's the principle. It's the principle. But come on, bro.
Diablo exchanged messages on Instagram with another user. Diablo told the other user that he had been hunting some lame all night long, and that being the driver and the shooter sucks. About 10 minutes later after the Instagram exchange, Diablo told the other user that he had been hunting some lame all night long, and that being the driver and the shooter sucks.
Damn. Diablo was texting somebody on Instagram, going back and forth, probably his homie, telling him, "Damn, dog, you know, I'm hunting this lame. I can't find this lame," right? It sucks being the driver and the shooter. Which, therefore, well, you know what that means? That means that he's been a driver before, and he's also been the shooter before. That means that Diablo got some bodies under his belt. That's what that means.
About 10 minutes later after the Instagram exchange, Diablo knocked on the door of Daniel's sister's house. Diablo told her to tell Daniel to come outside and take a ride with him. Daniel refused. He went to his room and shut the door.
That would have been the last ride that fool ever took, bro. You don't do that shit. You know, especially after what you did. Like, if you wouldn't have done nothing, fuck it. But after what you just did, come on.
Diablo then busted in the door, went to Daniel's room and asked, "Why you gonna make me do this to these people?
Wow.
You think it's okay to fuck with my family and I don't fuck with yours?" Diablo also asked Daniel whether he broke Sonya's cell phone and whether he had any money. Daniel answered that he'd come up with the money in a couple days. Diablo responded, "By the time I come back, you better have that fucking money."
Ooh.
Diablo then exited the house, re-entered with a gun, and fired 2 shots at Daniel. He then walked out. Daniel died of a gunshot wound to the chest. Diablo fled in his car. While
Damn. So he walked in the house and he asked them for the money. No, first he said, "Why you gonna make me do this in front of these people? You think it's cool to fuck with my family when I don't fuck with yours?" Hey, that's for real. You know when they say fuck around and find out? There you go. That's a real statement. Like, hey bro, if I don't fuck with your shit, don't fuck with mine. And he said that because there's innocent people in that house, and that fool would not come outside. Diablo respectfully said, "Come outside, let's go for a ride." That way these people don't have to see the bullshit. But that fool Daniel already knew what was going to happen, so he said, "I'm not going out there. I already know I'm going to die. Hell nah."
Daniel's 3 roommates also tried to flee, not wanting to be questioned by officers, who swarmed the location after receiving reports of shots fired. When police arrived, they found Daniel's corpse laying face down on the kitchen floor.
Wow.
They found no weapons near the corpse, but did find a machete under the mattress in Daniel's room. Diablo later claimed he shot Daniel because Daniel jumped at him. He thought Daniel was going to hit him with the machete, and he needed to defend himself allegedly. All 3 witnesses were stopped by police and detained for questioning, culminating in Diablo.
That don't make sense because the machete was under the bed. So that makes no sense. Unless Diablo knew that that fool owned the machete and used it to his advantage. But it didn't work.
Being identified as the shooter, relying on their statements and security surveillance videotape from locations near the resident that showed Diablo coming and going. Banning police obtained a warrant for Diablo's arrest. Diablo was located on Ambrose Drive on January 20th, 2021, and taken into custody without incident. Following a 2-week trial, Diablo was convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 80 years to life in prison. Damn. Diablo is currently serving his sentence in Pelican Bay.
80 years to life, over $450, and your girl and your sister's boy problems. Listen, I don't get involved in what my sisters got going on at all with their man. It ain't my problem. Cause I'm gonna go over there and we're gonna beef it, and then you gonna be cool with that fool in a couple of days, and I ain't gonna do that. I'm not, unless it's like life and death. Then you can count on big brother, right, or little brother, whichever sister it might be. Only if it's life or death. If it's not life or death, and it's some measly $300-$400, here I'm gonna double you up. Let that man go. You know. Here, I'm gonna give you the money. Just don't deal with that problem no more. Like boss status, right? Not gonna go throw your life away over $400. Now I know what a lot of people are gonna say. It's the moral of the story. It's the remember Big Worm? It's the principle of the thing, the principalities. Yes, it is. But come on, my boy, you gotta think 5 steps ahead. You gotta think of the consequences, not just be a barbaric animal. Like, it's not worth it. If you're going to go out and get 80 to life, go out for something that's well worth it. Come on, 80 to life, I'm going to go rob me 40, 50 banks and put the money away from my family and then go catch 40 years, 50 years. Like, come on, bro. Like, some people, and I don't blame the homies, right? Because some of the homies, bro, they think on like, they think right away. Like, how can I say that? They react quick. They're not even thinking of the consequences or nothing. They're just reacting. And I don't blame them. But they need to start wising up and start making moves that actually make sense. Moves that actually make sense. The 2 goofies that killed that innocent man, goofballs. But I will say shout out to Diablo. He a real one regardless. I've heard nothing but great stories about that guy. So shout out to him. Hopefully he'll be free sooner than later. Hopefully he could see, come out and see the world one more time before his demise. We all gonna die someday. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, go over to Instagram, Hater World Media. And other than that, you guys already know this has been a Blue Devil reaction. And we out.